Okay, one more minute and then we'll start. For everyone who's joining us today for the first time since the series of webinars, so all of these sessions are recorded, and we're going to be sending the recording as well in a couple of days, along with the feedback form. So we'd really appreciate if you also can let us know your feedback on these sessions and yeah, what other recommendations or suggestions you have. All right, so we'll get started. So good afternoon again, everybody. Welcome to the third webinar of the EAT program, focused on helping agribusinesses in Nigeria grow through digital and e-commerce tools. Now, today, the focus of the session is not it could be applied to any business. So if you're not in the agribusiness sector, you'll also find a lot of benefits from today's session. So we're going to be talking about how great product photography and good product content will actually help you to stand out, whether you have your own e-commerce or if you're planning on listing on marketplaces, or if you, for example, use any other online shop such as social commerce. So to get started, my name is Jennifer Kanan, and I'll be your host for today's session, along with my colleague Jide. He was participating yesterday in the session, not yesterday, 2 days ago. So I'll introduce him in a few minutes, but before that, Ellie from ITC will be talking in a few words about the International Trade Center and about the EAT program today. Ellie?
Thank you, Jennifer, and good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Welcome back to those who have already joined us the past 2 days. What I'm going to say now, you've heard it already, so please just consider it as a refresher. And for those who are joining us for the first time today, we're very happy to see you here. So very quickly, my name is Elira Barison. I represent the International Trade Center's Office for Africa and the EAT program. So the ITC, for those of you who are not familiar, is a joint agency of the United Nations and the World Trade Organization. And we are fully dedicated to support small businesses from developing countries as they engage in international trade. So the core services of ITC include the following. First, we directly support small businesses and we provide resources as well as trainings, such as this one that you're attending today, to help small businesses become more competitive and participate in international trade. Second, we also work with business support organizations to help them create an ecosystem where all small businesses can thrive. Third, we also assist governments in creating favorable policy environments. And finally, we provide global public goods that are related to trade and market intelligence. And if you've been here the past sessions, you've heard about the export potential map, the ITC trade map, and other tools that we provide freely online. So that's about the ITC. Now, regarding the ECOWAS Agricultural Trade Program, or the EAT, as we call it, it's the program in the context of which we're organizing these sessions of e-commerce webinars. And the EAT is a project funded by the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation, and it's implemented jointly by GIZ and ITC. So this initiative really has the objective to tackle regional policy coordination, economic integration within the ECOWAS region, and food security. So it has three components, one on trade policy, the second on trade facilitation, and the third on private sector promotion. And it's in the context of this last component that we want to provide training sessions for small businesses and traders, including tonight's e-commerce session. So that's the information you need to know about the EAT. I wish you all a very nice session this evening. And Jennifer, back to you for the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. For those of you who already heard this before, it doesn't hurt for a quick reminder. Just to let you know, it would be great if you could just put your cameras on. It's always more interesting to be speaking and seeing people at the same time. Please keep your mics muted as much as possible. We'll have a time at the end for Q&A. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat and we'll get back to it at the end of the session. I just want to, before we get started, to introduce Jide. Jide, are you with us? I know you're here somewhere.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi. So Jide is one of my colleagues. He's a tech enthusiast and problem solver. He has over a decade of experience in building disruptive technologies, and he's currently focused on building Africa's biggest and most trusted marketplace. He was also presenting yesterday during the session, specifically talking about regional marketplaces in West Africa. Hi, Jide, and I will get started and get back to you for the second and fourth section. Sorry. So what we will cover today basically includes e-commerce content. So we will not have enough time to go fully in depth into what is e-commerce content, but just an overview. Jide will talk about photography and how important it is for you to be able to stand out. In these days, there's so much content online to the point where it's really hard for someone trying to sell a product or a business or a service to really get creative and stand out. So photography is a key point here. Then I'll talk about descriptions that attract buyers and what are the arguments that you need to have or try to build that trust with this description that you have with your potential customers. And then we'll end with SEO, and it's important in terms of improving your listing, whether on e-commerce websites or in marketplaces. And then, of course, as usual, we'll end with the Q&A. So let's talk about e-commerce content. I want you, before we get started, to think a little bit about, in your mind, what is e-commerce content? So I've mentioned a few key things and during the introduction, but sometimes we tend to forget, many people tend to forget a lot of components when it comes to e-commerce content. So in your mind, what is e-commerce content and why is it important and necessary to sell online? So think about it for a few seconds and let us know in the chat. I would, of course, answer that question. I will not leave it hanging, but I think we already will get a little bit of the same answers at some point, and then you will have a better idea as we go along this presentation of what constitutes e-commerce content. So basically, the content, any content that you have on e-commerce or online, it's not just to inform your potential customers. So if you've tried to open a website, a Shopify website, or try to list on marketplaces, you know that there are certain types of e-commerce content they will ask of you. And this is important for them and for yourself to comply with regulation, but also get access to logistics. So these are the delivery companies and the payment solution. So they will ask for a specific set of information that needs to be available to them as well as for the potential customer. So this is not something that could be optional. It's something that's absolutely necessary for you to be able to engage in e-commerce activities. Now, the thing is with e-commerce is that it replaces an actual interaction that people have been used for a long time to have in person. So they cannot touch, they cannot experience the product, they cannot demo it online. So we're trying to make all of this potential barriers for buying easier and more transparent through your e-commerce platform. So this is the main role when it comes to your potential customer, is to be able to create content that has all of the information possible for both the potential customer and for any authorities, payment solution, and shipping solutions as well. Now, the main thing you need to think about when it comes to your own personal as a business, the value of having e-commerce content is that really it reduces the potential of disappointed customers. So that means that you're not likely to have to return or refund people for certain products, as long as your information is clear. It has all of the details, the specs, the sizes. I'm sure that happened to many of us, where you order something online and then it comes at a different size, or you expect something to be bigger and then it's another size. So this is one of the things that can happen during buying online. So you have a few things. Sorry, someone is not muted. I'm not sure who. So it's important for all of the stages, the viewing. So when they see the product, the condition, so how it is, the sizes, all of these details, and the shipping. So the shipping will need to know the weight, the size, to assess what kind of packaging, how much it will cost, and all of these different criteria that comes into play when you're actually shipping a product. Now, of course, it will make a difference whether the product is shipped locally or internationally. So all of these things are connected. And as I said earlier, this is crucial to build trust. Now, of course, there is one other important criteria, is that your e-commerce content affects actually many things that people expect from the product when it's received. One, it influences price perception. So when you see that a very clean picture, it's taken from different angles, you have the product in actual context or situation and not only on a white background. And if the information is clear, there is an expectation that so the potential customer will be willing to pay a little bit more for that transparency and for understanding that this is a high value product. It also helps with online searches. So it improves SEO in a lot of ways when your content is genuine, is clear, and it's written by humans. Now, we've used to say this in these sessions before, but now it's even more relevant because everyone is using AI to write these product descriptions. And finally, on that point specifically, it builds brand recognition. So once you have a certain clear branding that's repeated across all of your e-commerce content, people start to associate with it, and they know that this is this brand or this product or this company. So it helps you stand out from your competitors as well. So that is about the benefits of having e-commerce content, but that doesn't mean that that means it's mandatory, because if you don't, you can't sell online. So when we talk about e-commerce content, that includes your privacy policy, that includes your return and refund policy. So all of these things are important for if you have a Shopify website. Now, if you have an online marketplace or you're listing on an online marketplace, this is important because you will probably abide by the rules and regulations of the online marketplace. So if they I don't know, offer free returns on all products, then you will have to do the same as well. But they will have higher standards in terms of customer support, what kind of product you're listing, the description, all of the details that you put. And if you don't technically abide by it, you will not be able to compete with other people who are. So this is why we say that 80% of the e-commerce content that you will produce will be relevant to all stakeholders. So you do it at least once in the beginning and then maybe amend it along the way, depending on a few things that change. But that will become clear once we arrive at this section. So there are two types of e-commerce content: the product e-commerce content and the company e-commerce content. So when we talk about product, all of these things are e-commerce content. The name and the title of the product. Now, of course, we recommend that you have a naming procedure, that you have that you name all of your products in the same way, more or less, and then amend either the color or the shape or the size. So do you have something standard? Product descriptions, product photos. You notice here we say photos, not photo, because we need more than one. Product videos. So if your product is a little bit more complicated or how to set up or you want to show it in action, it's important to use videos. HS code, so that's the code of the product. That varies, for example, if in that case we're selling agribusiness or agricultural product, this is highly relevant. An SKU code, which is something that you track your internally, so you can set it up internally. Barcodes, if you have them, and the price. So I am sure in the beginning when I asked what is e-commerce content, we maybe cover 2 or 3 of these things. So just for you to keep in mind. Second, and because people also for a long time now after COVID stopped buying products only, they buy them so they have a different understanding of who they want to buy from. They're tending to prioritize community or small businesses or companies that have more sustainable practices. So all of these criteria and decision-making criteria have changed a lot in the past. So it's important that the company content can as well reflects a little bit who you are as a company. So that would be the description, the pictures of the business owner or the employees, the team, if you have behind the scenes or manufacturing or any kind of things that people do not normally see before the final product is very relevant because it creates that trust. Company videos, brand and logo, and here very importantly, terms and conditions, return and refund policy, and the privacy policy. So all of these things are becoming more important, specifically when you're actually thinking of export. So buying within the same country is a challenge altogether. But if you want to export to outside your own country, people want to know in what condition it will arrive, what if it was mishandled by the shipping company, and all of these potential issues that might happen. And if they want to return, what is your return and refund policy? I'll hand over here to Jide for the second section.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. So we'll be looking very quickly at photography and why it's important for e-commerce. So the first thing we want to look at here is the benefits. So we've talked a lot about e-commerce, the important content, and we all know how important content is. There's a popular catchphrase that content is king. So one of the things that we want to start with is we want to understand that high quality photographs can attract 93% of buyers who view product images first before making a purchase. So obviously what this means is the first things that a potential customer or a potential lead would see or would view is your image, is the product image. And we see this as well with social media, even dating websites. What those platforms usually lead with is the image, is the photo. So the photo pretty much directs the interests of that customer. So what that means is the quality photos build trust. So by seeing a photo that is of great quality, it's clear, no blur, everything looks very crisp, the customer automatically starts to build trust in your product, in your brand, because you're representing your product in the best possible way. So you're putting your best foot forward by putting out quality photos. It does a very good job to boost your brand identity. And it also creates and increases the confidence in the customer because in a world today, there's a lot of fraudulent platforms, a lot of fraudulent actors. There's a lot of bad customers as well as bad platforms. So the trust coefficient while dealing online is very, very shaky. And one of the things that you need to do is you need to boost the customer confidence in trusting you well enough to buy and to order from you. So yeah, it does a very good job to increase sales as a whole because your picture does it. Your picture is like your billboard. You know, it showcases your product. It showcases the different angles of your product. It does a very good job to tell the story of the product. You know, you can use your pictures to tell a story about how your product can be styled. If it's a clothing item, for example, you can wear it on a model. You can wear it on different types of models, either a slim model, a plus size model, or maybe a younger person. So what it does is it helps you to amplify your sales because it showcases your product in ways that written texts cannot or product descriptions cannot. It also helps you to rank above your competition because one thing that you do understand is, or we do know, is the market is very competitive. So you have lots of different um, manufacturers, lots of different retailers, lots of different people selling what would be direct competitors or even indirect competitors to your product. And your product image does a very good job to give you an edge, especially when you are putting out the best quality photos. It helps you to showcase your superiority or even give you an edge over your competitors. In terms of shopping experience as well, I mean, we all go to shopping malls, we all go to supermarkets. One of the things that's shopping experience, one of the things that factors into shopping experiences is merchandising. So for an online store, your merchandising starts with your image. So by showcasing great photos, it already impacts shopping experience for the customer because a lot of the questions that the customer would have, your product image has already explained or answered those questions. So your customer or your potential customer has seen your products from the different angles. They've probably seen it styled. They've probably seen it on a mannequin. They've seen it in a real life scenario. So the shopping experience is already positively impacted just by viewing the product photos. Very important as well to also showcase multiple photos, multiple angles, because this allows the customer to start to familiarize themselves even more so with the product. Next slide, thank you. All right, so some of the tips for ensuring great e-commerce photography. So the first thing we need to understand is we need to put the customer first. So by letting the customers come first, it shows that your level of empathy because you're already thinking about who your customers are. And this is important because you need to understand that you have a host or a variety of customer types or customer segments. So to capture high quality e-commerce photos, you need to identify who your ideal customer is. If you're selling a food item or a product that is specifically for hypertension treatment or specifically for patients who have hypertension, you know that you're dealing with a certain or a specific age group or a specific type of customer. So obviously what you need to do is you need to showcase that sort of product to resonate better with that customer segment. So yeah, by gaining a clear understanding of who your customers are, you're able to appeal to them. So again, it goes back to the initial conversation about building trust, building customer confidence, and impacting the shopping experience. So yeah, to understand who your customers are, there are lots of demographic and psychographic elements to consider, like age, location, their interests, the behaviors, the lifestyle preferences. All of this will help you to understand who your customers are. So why is it important to know who your product is for? The first is to understand your customer, your target audience and their preferences, which is key to determining the right photography style. And I gave an example of, say, for example, the products that is ideal for a hypertensive patient or for hypertensive patients. It means that your target audience should be falling within a specific demographic or a specific psychographic. Traditional white background shots, which are very popular on Amazon, Jumia, eBay, what have you, are usually recommended by e-commerce platforms because they focus more on the product and they highlight details. For lifestyle photos, for example, this allows people, lifestyle photos are photos of products that are in a real life setting or a hypothetical setting. So it's staged to simulate what that would look like in a real life setting. So yeah, lifestyle photos help people to see themselves in using that product in their daily life. So by seeing a lifestyle photo, you can already start to embody or start to resonate with it on a more practical perspective. And lastly, your choice of product photography should engage with your audiences and spark interest in their offering, because the first thing your customer sees is your image. So there needs to be an immediate resonance with the product. Next slide. Continuing on our tips, how do we use photography styles based on your target audience? There are a couple of factors that we need to look at. First of all is the age. Of course, we're very, very familiar with the age demographic splits between the baby boomers, the millennials, Gen Zs. So obviously this means that there's a direct correlation between the age and the customer age group, what have you, Gen Z. So the style of photography has to resonate with the age group or the customer age group that your product is ideal for. So for example, children, the way you take a picture of children's products, the Gen Alphas, for example, it's different from how you represent a product that is ideal for millennials, right? So for kids photos, photos of products for kids usually usually resonate better with them with brighter, colorful photos. And because the children are more stimulated by colors, so it's attractive. So you need to understand the kind of customer that you're targeting and the kind of style for photography that appeals to that customer. A white background, for example, appeals more to more mature audience because at the point of maturity, your focus is less on bright, stimulating colors and more on the product that you're buying. The location of the audience refers to where the core of your customers live. Obviously, this is before considering customs, traditions, whatnot. So wherever your customers live, your ideal customer live, also factors into what your photography style should look like. So for example, if your core of your audience is based in like the metropolis or the urban cities, obviously means that you need to factor in that knowledge or that input into how you style your photos and how you take your photos. The interest of the customer, whether or not they like, whether or not their interests are, whether or not they like certain intricacies or certain nuances, it helps you to determine the type of photography you should go for. So interest can vary from, fashionable people to people who are more like, conservative, or to people who, whatever the interests are, you need to also factor that in because that helps you to understand how, or basically the expectation of the customer from the product images or from the product itself. Last is the behavior and lifestyle. So this refers to how the product fits into the daily lifestyle. So if it's a product that's is used to lose weight, for example, it's a product used to gain weight, how you represent that product would be in line with the use case. So what that means is for products that are for losing weight, for example, this will resonate with like fitness enthusiasts, fitness gurus, gym folk. So obviously, when you're taking pictures, you can consider taking a picture with like a gym setting or with like a model that is dressed in like fitness gear or what have you. Next slide. Okay, so we'll look at how do you do e-commerce better. So what we're speaking about specifically is how do you set up your studio. Now, I know everybody would, raise their eyebrow like, I don't have space to set up a studio. Probably don't have the budget to set up a studio. No, so your studio doesn't necessarily have to be the whole room with lights and all of that. So forgive the image that is on display. Your studio can literally just be a little corner in your house with a whole setup that just speaks to how you want to direct your photography. So the first things you need are your camera. So one thing about cameras is we're so grateful for technology, where technology has gotten us to where a lot of our smartphones do amazing stuff. So iPhones, Samsungs, I know Google Pixel, for example, these are all examples of modern smartphones that are quite capable of shooting very high quality pictures. So all you need to have is a decent smartphone that is within a decent price range. And then you can just tweak your settings to be optimized. Obviously, the quality of your pictures would be dependent on your shot setup, the lighting, and obviously the post picture editing. A good tripod helps because it helps you to help steady your camera, in this case your phone, and it helps to reduce the blur that comes out with taking pictures, especially when you are holding. So a good tripod helps you to steady your shot and helps you to reduce the blur. Lighting is actually very good because it helps to shed a lot of, a good amount of light and reduce the shadow. So what this does is it makes your product pop and it makes your product, the colors and the elements and the scheme of your product to really show itself. Um, on top of lighting, obviously editing actually helps as well because it helps you to increase the saturation or modify the brightness or what have you of the product. But a good lighting, either with like LED lights or even like natural light. So if you have windows, you can open up your windows so that the light is cast on the product. A table, very, very important. And at the beginning of this, I mentioned you don't need to have the whole room, just a corner. So if you have a table, essentially just like a stable shooting surface for your product, it really helps you to style your product in certain angles that you normally would not be able to. It also helps you to dedicate like the position in your living space or wherever you want to set up your studio, where you can style the background, you can style the table, you can have various types of props. And then obviously, if you don't have a table, or if you're selling larger products, you can use your floor as a surface. The floor actually represents a very good platform surface to shoot fairly larger products because it gives you more room, more space to position the item and take your picture or take as much pictures as you want. A white background, again, a lot of times people get scared when you get white background because you don't need a whole drop, the whole studio drop. All you need is like a white sweep, a plain white cloth, or just some craft paper like cardboard, poster board, and just mount it on the table and then around your studio setup. And this just does the same quality of job that a backdrop would do with your limited space and your limited budgets. So yeah, a simple white background that could just be like the cardboard, white paper, white cloth that is just like very clean and very clear. It helps you to set up your studio area, and it does an amazing job in addition with the lighting, the tripod. The last is a photo box. Now, a photo box is essentially a mobile, portable, and foldable box that allows you to take controlled light, to create controlled lighting conditions, I beg your pardon, for shooting product photography. Now, photo boxes are quite available in pretty much everywhere and wherever you might be. All you need to do is go to your most popular e-commerce website or platform, or just go on Google and search photo box. There are lots of various options. If Amazon delivers to wherever your location is, Amazon has a lot of great options. Jumia, if you're in Africa, Jumia does have a lot of offerings. So yeah, a photo box is already designed with lights and white background. It also has a surface. All you have to do is just connect it and then take pictures. So these are just some examples of great e-commerce photography. So we have and these are just like products that are in the agric industry or agric sector. So we have like rice, for example, we have seeds, we have more seeds as well. So these are all different types of brands and products all showcased. So you can see the good thing about here is the consistency and the quality. A lot of the details of the product is showcased, even though we can't see the product inside. This gives us a very good example, a very good insight into what the product is. So take, for example, the quantity, the size, the net weights for the rice, you can see is 50 kg. You can see the details of the type of rice it is, so it's a barcode rice, and you can see the brand name. Last slide. Also showing you some different types of other products. So we have noodles, Indomie noodles, which is very popular in West Africa, specifically Nigeria. You have oil in a carton. So the good thing about this picture, why this is important, is it shows you the box, and it also shows you how the item in the box looks like. And then we have flour and the pack products. So yeah, these are just great examples of better for the e-commerce photography for agri business. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jide. I guess it combines very well when we talk about photography and what we will cover now, which is basically the description. I like something that you mentioned that talks about understanding your target audience, what they are interested, and their motivation. So we have usually two kinds of things. Either that you sell products that help solve a problem. I don't know, a printer in that case, or something that would facilitate the life or improve the life of someone, or something that actually adds pleasure. Something that is enjoyable. In that case, that would be your children's toys. That could be like a nice, I don't know, painting, something that will beautify the space or the lifestyle of someone. So depending on that, the product has to be very well described and kept in mind in terms of what are the motivation that people buy for. So whether it's problem solving or an emotional reason. So your product description in general, no matter what you're selling, should cover an emotional persuasive text that would be, for example, your I don't know, comfortable, user-friendly, easy to set up, all of these things that will add this emotional or persuasion element to your product description, and the list of technical details, the size, the weight, the colors, all of these things that are more, I don't know, if you're using a technical aspect, like how to set it up, all of these things, what comes in the box, all of the details. So basically, you need to put yourself in the shoes of your potential customer and imagine what would get them to buy or what would prevent them not to buy. So the product photography really has to tie into the product description as well. So here is a very good example of something that basically is bought by your average, I don't know, 40 something or 30 something man. And I don't know if you've worn this before, but this brand or this structure of the shoe actually is known for being super comfortable. So you will see that it speaks to genuine deerskin lining. So genuine is an emotional word and offers a great in-shoe feel. So this is another way of saying comfortable. Full length, triple density footbed features memory foam for all-day comfort. I am assuming that this is something that a 40-year-old guy would buy because of these, because of this description. So it's comfort and flexibility. And we're not really here, like there are not a lot of details in terms of the weight, but this is usually added as well, even if it's something like shoes, which is not weight sensitive. So no one will actually ask how much the shoe weight when they buy it, but it's important to have it also listed there. And ultimate in wet and dry traction. So basically saying that you can wear it any day, any time of the year. So it combines a little bit the emotional and the rational elements in the decision making. So here, when we talk about a product that's more technical and less emotionally driven, you'll notice stuff like how much the size is. In that case, if you want to put a laptop, if your laptop will actually fit into it, dual combination lock, because in this case, I assume that potential customer actually cares about safety and security, and made of a reinforced vinyl exterior to keep valuables protected. So it just speaks to the more rational approach in terms of buying a product. So you'll notice here a little bit that you need to balance between the rational and the emotional. It doesn't mean that if your product is purely decorative or something that people would enjoy, we will fully focus on the emotional. Here, even if it's super colorful, super comfortable, all of these things, we need to say the fabric, what is it made of, the size of the pillowcase, if this a pillowcase or just a pillow, or a pillowcase with the pillow. People would need to know the sizes and the fabric Most also likely how to wash it. Does it go in the washing machine or it needs to be washed by hand? It's a very important criteria for probably someone buying this pillowcase. Another example, if it's even fully functional, something like this hand towel, you also need to add some emotional benefits. Sometimes like super clean absorption rate, 100%. All of these things are a little bit rational, but at the same time also emotional. So just all to say, you need to have a balance between both. So the key principle for a quality product description, it needs to be structured and easy to understand. You don't want to use words that are too technical for only experts to understand. You need to have these evocative words, like as we've seen with the shoe example, all fit comfort, used in all weather situation. All of these things would make potential customer imagine what it means to be wearing these shoes. You need to have also enough keywords and phrases that will highlight the uniqueness of the product, but also improve your SEO, which Gida will talk about in a few minutes. And just keep in mind that certain words will have different meanings in different countries. So if you're planning on targeting regionally or internationally, just be mindful of these things as well as the language. So we've covered simplicity and ease of understanding. You want to use terms that people use when they search for the product. So this a little bit ties into the SEO, but maybe someone will not search for a pair of shoes and say all day comfort. They will say comfortable shoes for every day. So these are things that you need to think about before writing the product description. You want to be distinctive, so you want to stand out from the competition, but also this will improve your SEO. So this is something that we'll cover as well. And you want to be attractive. So you want to create these positive associations that tie into the image photography or the product photography that Gida was talking about. So you want to be structured. You want to talk about emotional benefit, rational benefits, size and uses, how to maintain. So it needs to be structured for all of your products. So people start to have a certain expectation of the e-commerce content that you have. Usually a good product description should be 20 to 30 lines and be in two categories, the emotional and the more technical characteristics. So this is something for you to have in mind. Of course, not all product will require all of that description, but this is your average expectations from informed potential customer. And whenever possible, if you're using your own e-commerce platform or marketplaces, just try to engage or encourage people to leave testimonials. This would be important because people would scan through this depending on the total value of the product you're selling. And of course, this goes without saying. Spell check your description, make sure your grammar is correct, and of course, check the language in the potential country that you want to sell in. Mistakes to avoid: try not to settle for a short description. This will not help convince your client or help you with SEO. If you have similar products, for example, different colors or different sizes, you don't want to reproduce the same content because that will not help in SEO. And if, for example, you have it in different colors, just try to have one page and then show as an option that it's available in different colors. Don't use foreign words, foreign to you or foreign to your potential customer. Don't use too technical words that people will not understand. Again, that depends on your target audience. If you're selling, I don't know, construction tools, then yeah, you have to be technical, but just keep that in mind. So basically just keep who your ideal customer in mind is so you can adjust accordingly. And if you don't have enough stock of the product, make sure to highlight it in the beginning. That could be a good incentive for people to buy, but you don't want to disappoint the customer at the end by saying, oh, this product is no longer available. So we have here a few examples. You'll see from the description, it's a sofa. So technically it's an expensive sofa, but technically it's both a combination of rational and emotional. You see that they say here, for example, it's elegant and luxurious. It is so deep you'll want to tuck in your feet and curl up for a long rest. So that will put you in the mindset and you will know exactly what to expect when you buy this couch. And then you see handmade in 8 to 10 weeks and then delivered usually within 10 working days. So it speaks to the potential target audience that will value such an item. Also on the same page, they have the height, width, and depth, which of course something you want to keep in mind when you're buying a chair. You want to know it will fit in your apartment. You see the guarantee. So this is important for people to buy from a supplier for the first time. And then you'll see as well a zoom in on the type of fabric that you couldn't possibly see from here, but this way you know it's not smooth. It's a little bit I don't know what you call it, but it's not smooth, so it makes it maybe more comfortable or less comfortable depending on what you're looking for, but there's no surprises. And it tells you exactly how it needs to be maintained after. So transparency in that means that you have no surprises after buying the product. Another example here is something more from the beauty side. You see like short description that speaks to exactly what you expect, an instant dewy glow that lasts. And then a little bit more the details after the highlights are good to know, enhancing, nourishing, vegan. These are all criteria that the potential customer is interested in because they sell very natural beauty products. Another example, and this is one of my favorite, this is more a functional and emotional buy. So you have the different colors of the products, and every time you click on it, you'll see all of the images in that color, and then you see the sizes. And one key thing is that you can see which size fits your currency. So if they have two sizes of the wallet, and you can see depending on your currency, if it fits in the small one or in the big one. So it's something that would be considered like a step forward. But because again, people and the brand, what it offers is functionality in all of the products. Back to you, Jide, for last section for today, which basically is SEO.
Thanks again, Jenny. So one of the things that you hear a lot, especially in e-commerce, is what is SEO? What is SEO? A lot of people feel like SEO is this super complex, super complicated concept. One thing I can tell you for a fact is SEO is actually very simple. So one of the things that we should just understand when we're talking about SEO, especially when it comes to the search engine optimization, like search engines like Google, like Bing, is 80%. And this is such an important statistic. And 80% of users don't go beyond the first page of Google results. So what that means, with no pressure whatsoever, you need to appear among the first results. And how do you do this? It's with SEO. So let's define SEO. So basically, SEO, or search engine optimization, is an algorithm designed to impact the visibility of web content through organic search results. So two things that are very important here is the highlighted words. So the algorithm, which is essentially a pre-configured or predefined system that, say, for example, Google has implemented, right, in the search engine world. So when you're on Google, there's an algorithm in place for how results are appearing on your search results. The second thing that we need to be mindful of is organic search results. Why this is important is because when you search on Google, especially today, in the super competitive world, where a lot of businesses, a lot of brands are actually buying paid ads. So you find paid ads, sponsored ads. SEO has very little impact on that. SEO focuses on organic, which means this is just pure content. It means that you've not paid for any subscription, you've not paid for any marketing or any advertising. It's just pure SEO. So it's very important to maintain and to understand the importance of how organic search results and SEO overlap. The next thing to know is, sorry, yeah. So next thing to know, I just want to run through the last two bits on the previous slides. Yes, thank you. So the next thing to know is SEO is commonly used as a free alternative to pay-per-click advertising. So essentially, if you don't have the resources or the budget to pay for paid ad or for paid ads, you just leverage SEO and you get a lot of organic search results just because of how optimized your pages are. And the last thing you need to also understand is SEO helps you direct targeted traffic to your brand and products without buying ads and clicks. So basically, whatever it is that you're selling, there's already traffic, there's already people searching, there's already people looking. So all you need to do is key into that search, key into that volume, key into that traffic by optimizing your content without paying a single dime on buying ads or buying clicks. Next slide. Okay, so how do we use SEO in your content? So the first thing is you need to understand the term keyword. And I'm sure this is a word that you've heard a lot of times, but in the world of SEO, keywords specifically mean words and phrases in your content, in your text content, in your product descriptions, what have you, that make it possible for people to find your product via search engines. So basically, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, right? Let's think about a product like water, like drinking water, either it's still mineral, what have you. The truth is, water satisfies one craving, drinking water, and that is hydration. So in the scheme of what kind of keyword should I use for water, hydration is a quick one that you could just use. For example, thirst, thirst is another. All you need to do is just think about words that are relevant to your product, and that automatically make them keywords. So yeah, you need to use a keyword within the first 100 words of the description, because this is how the algorithm that we discussed earlier works. Google has robots that crawl on your product content and pick all of your words, especially the keywords, particularly keywords, and how quick you use your keywords determine how optimized your content is. So you need to use your keywords, your relevant keywords within the first 100 words of your description. One of the things that you can do is when you're creating your content, you can use like Microsoft Word or lots of amazing web-based platforms to count the number of characters you have. You also need to include your keywords in your product names. So basically, when you're naming your product on your e-commerce listing, you need to add that keyword into it. So a keyword that is connecting to your brand and connecting to your product. You also need to use relevant top performing keywords that people search per product category. And I use the example of water, regardless of the type of water that you're selling, as long as it's drinking water, it serves similar purpose. Either it's hydrating your thirst, it's whatever it is that's whatever type of water, if it's mineral flavored, it's all centered around hydration, thirst, what have you. And then you have to make sure that your content is unique. Now, this is important because Jennifer mentioned a bit about making sure that you use human content. And this is being mindful of the world today, how we are very heavy on using ChatGPT and all sorts of generative AI. You need to make sure that your content is unique, because just like everybody else, everybody has access to ChatGPT. So there's a likelihood that the content that you generate with generative AI is repetitive. And then you have to focus on quality. So make sure that when you're writing for people. Imagine yourself as a customer. be empathetic to the customers, and write according to how you as a customer would resonate with the content. And lastly, don't skip on length. This is very important because you need to be able to express yourself or express the story or tell the story of the product in the most lucrative and the most elaborate and the most human way. So yeah, your product descriptions, your posts should have at least 150 words. Next slide.
I'm sorry.
No worries, no
We have
worries, Edwin. It's okay.
okay.
No
Okay.
worries. You can
All right.
continue, Jide.
Okay. Yeah. So how do we use SEO in images? Because we mentioned that SEO is very heavy on content, and we do know that content isn't just text. Image is also content. So how do we use SEO in image? So first things first is we need to use relevant keywords in our image file names. What this means is when you take a picture or when you have a picture of your item, you save the picture with the product name, or you save it with the keywords, something that allows the system, the algorithm we discussed, to understand and recognize that product image and also factor that into your SEO. We need to also add an alt tag in the description of each image. Now, what is an alt tag? So alt tag or alternative tags are added to product images to provide a text description of an image and describe the content and the context of the product. Now, it's very similar to how you take the photo with your phone, and then when you check the information of the phone, you can see in that information, in the photo information, the camera that took the phone that took that picture, when it was taken where. So all of that information that pertains to that photo is what the alt tags are. So, and these are editable, so you can edit the alt tags or the alt description, and then add the keywords or useful information that are relevant to that product. Last is to keep the file size of your images as small as possible, because a lot of websites also, I mean, the obvious reason why that is because the load time of your product page is already directly impacted. So if your product image is so big or too big, it starts to affect how quickly your product page load, or your product pages load rather. It also affects the quality of the picture. If it's too big, sometimes platforms can be disproportionate, or it could stretch or what have you. But most importantly, it helps to optimize the page. It helps to make the page quicker to load. It helps to make Google to crawl the page faster, and it helps that product page or that brand page to come out on top or quicker on your search results. Next slide. Okay, so what are the quick importances of SEO? So one thing that we do know and we need to also accept is the internet can be the most effective source of marketing if used correctly. Now, that last bit is so important because how you use the internet determines the effectiveness or the efficiency of how we go about or the output of our marketing. So it's very important to ensure that your content is relevant because this has a direct impact on your page ranking. More industry-specific content that your product listings have, the more or how that also factors to how easy your product is found organically. And organic search results, which it was something that was highlighted in the first slide, is essentially a natural method for locating a product listing. So this has a lot of impact on how SEO is even happening in the back end. Also, it's important to refresh your content as often as possible. So if there's new information, new brand guides, what have you, it's great to always update and refresh your content. So it's fresh, it's new, it's relevant. And the best way is to use relevant search terms. Essentially, when you are selling a product, you need to ensure that your keywords are always relevant to that product. And you need to understand the importance of original and unique content and how that has a direct impact on how customers and web searchers interact. So if I search for a product that is not relevant or not related to my search, the odds of me looking at that product is very low. So it's important to understand how that quality of your content and your results interact. Lastly is to understand, again, the emphasis has been on unique content, how the uniqueness of your content distinguishes your brand or your product from competitors. Again, it's a very competitive landscape, and you need to ensure that everything, every edge that you can have on your competitors is very important. Next. Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, the last is just to show an example of great SEO, and I used the very popular Indomie noodles as an example here. So two searches. The first is Indomie chicken, and then you see an arrow pointing upwards. So basically, that shows the hierarchy of the search. Obviously, the one you see on top, is the highest search result. So that's the most optimized, maybe the most popular, what have you. And then every other one follows. So the key thing here and the key takeaway here is we always need to ensure that first things first, our product searches or our product pages always land on the first page. And then we also need to ensure that our search results always rank the highest. The higher your search results rank, the more visibility you have, the more unique viewers you have, and of course, the more sales you have. So two searches here show a lot of similarities with the search results. However, we'll find that when you modify the search result, maybe by adding an extra word, in this case, there's Indomie chicken, and then there's buy. The second example is buy Indomie noodles. So that word buy there also has an impact because it shows the intent of the page. The intent of the page is to sell the property, it allows customers to buy. However, the first search result is more like Indomie chicken. So it will show product pages that have like, even though it's just like information about the product, basic information, they will show those results. So yeah, that has been SEO. We move to Q&A. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jide. And thank you, everyone, for joining the session. I hope you found a lot of benefits from it. I think for history, if you could all turn on your cameras, we can take a picture, and then we'll move on to questions and feedback. Thank you. That's it. No one else wants to put on their cameras. All right. Ellie?
Really nice to to see everyone's faces, to put a face on the names. Yeah, I can give it an extra 3 seconds, and then I will do the virtual snapshot. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Please smile.
Great.
Thank you, everyone. Picture taken.
Everyone is saying cheese at the same time, or shoes, or okay. Also, I will share a feedback form in the chat. It would be great if you can complete it either now or after this call. We will be sending it again by email since all of you are registered. So you can start with it now or do it after, but it would be important for us to stay in contact with you to be able to send you the recordings of this session. So I've seen basically there are no questions in the chat except for people introducing themselves, which is kind of cool. So I will end it here, but then feel
Jennifer?
free. Yes?
Sorry. So I see Reka raised her hand.
Oh, hi.
And maybe wanted
Was
to
it
ask
a
a
question or for the picture?
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, of course. Of course, go ahead.
Yeah, I am not into agri-tech right now. I'm into the different domain. I'm also interested in agri-tech. So that's the reason I'm asking. I'm in zero level right now in agri-tech. So regarding this e-commerce platform, we should have e-commerce platform. From there, we should keep uploading all the products, whatever we have. From there, it will be get sold, right?
It will be?
It will be get sold.
It's simply put, yes, it is like that, but there's a lot. So if we're talking about e-commerce as a platform, or you're thinking about marketplaces, these are a little bit different. It's not as easy as just putting the products out there and people buying them. You need to do marketing, you need to do customer support, you need to like do a lot of additional support towards this e-commerce so that it becomes like Gida was saying, SEO, so that it starts to rank higher, so people would find it and see it. So it's a little bit more complicated than this. But if you want, you can start with Insta shops. So your Instagram account, you can turn it into social e-commerce. And then you can start testing the market there. If you have like a consistent, regular demand of products, then you can decide to either add your products on marketplaces or do your own e-commerce platform. But starting small is more important for you to test the demand for the product that you have and try to zero in on who is your potential customer.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, but if you're on Ecom Connect, the community, we usually have a lot of webinars that tackle all of these different elements in terms of the e-commerce experience altogether.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sure. We'll include the survey and the recordings and the links to the Ecom Connect community as well. So if you didn't join yet, you can join us after this webinar.
Henry, were you raising your hand or uploading?
I was uploading, yeah, I was uploading because, yeah, the answer is very instructive, and yeah, I was uploading for that.
Great. I am uploading too, but in person, not. All right. Thank you, everybody, and I'll be in touch.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Jide. Very
Thank you,
instructive.
Thank you,
Jennifer.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Henry.
Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you.